So we are here with Lior Immanuel Fischer. I'm so excited, all the way from Switzerland. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm really excited that you're here doing this interview. You're a modern fine artist. So that's really exciting. And you have so many different talents.
Thank you.
So welcome to the arts interviews. And how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Good and a little tired because it's like 2 a.m. here.
Well, we thank you for making that sacrifice. You look like it's not 2 a.m, so don't worry.
Yeah, because I'm usually up at night. So.
Oh, wow. So you're most likely doing a lot of your artistry at nighttime?
Liorimmanuelfischer. I'm an artist and event manager. I see myself as an entrepreneur. I started painting when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And since then, when I was 11, I really got into it. I attended an art school as a child, and I had to apply with some of my art pieces.
Wow.
The most people there were elderly, so I was the only child.
With your paintings, what is your medium of choice and why? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you
Okay,
loud. So basically, well, I really started when I was about 11, and I started with silk painting.
Mm-hmm.
First time I got to experiment with someone who was doing that, and it really inspired me how you could just use silk. And for the first time I saw how someone just used silk and did paintings with it.
Wow.
Usually I just use silk as scarves and ties.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite inspiring, and then after that I decided to join a school on the side for painting,
Mm-hmm.
which was the one I was talking about. And yes, basically I usually describe myself as doing mixed media.
Wow.
Because I feel as an artist, it's important to be always creative. And I don't like to narrow myself down. I just want to always be able to reinvent myself.
Wow.
So I always experiment with new ideas, new media, new colors, new paint, and also medium. So lately I started painting on wood as well.
Oh, wow.
So actually that's the last wood painting I did.
Oh, beautiful.
It's called Galaxy. And I use on it also kind of a powder to create like an illusion of space.
Wow. That's really amazing. You have so many great like paintings, and just like there's one behind you with the eye.
Right, it's like staring at you.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So yeah, the painting is called Kiss the Sky, and I started working on it about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I must say here I didn't finish the painting yet.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go into a niche and differentiate myself from other artists.
Mm-hmm.
So I started studying color psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my goal to have a positive effect on the people viewing the art.
Wow.
So I would study the different effects the different color shades would have on the brain. And that's why I believe that my paintings usually create a feeling of space.
Mm.
And they're usually very vibrant, colorful, and happy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Of course, some aren't happy. You know, I was working on a painting series also 10 years ago, and there it was important to me to illustrate the great difference between ordinary still life and catastrophes.
Wow.
So basically, I did a series of 12 paintings. For example, in the Zurich main train station, or just other situations. And in comparison, I did paintings. That was during the time where there was the flooding in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
So I took newspaper articles and let them inspire me, and I painted with charcoal and different mediums. For example, one painting that comes to my mind is a situation where there was a fireman in the middle of all the water, and he was trying to fight a fire that was breaking out. Maybe I could send it to you as well later. Another situation was a war. So that was during the time of the Lebanon war. I don't know if you're familiar. So I painted soldiers looking over to the city.
Wow.
I have a painting also done with charcoal, where there's a man standing in the middle of nowhere, just looking around, and there are people on bicycles, just showing everyday life, or a painting of a car sale with a beach in the background. So yes, there was one painting I created also out of charcoal that showed a woman. She was poor and on the ground. So it's important to me not just to show happy moments, but also to illustrate the other side of life.
Wow.
There was one drawing of a woman who had just lost her husband in New Orleans.
Wow.
So that was in the back. So that's just something I remembered now.
Wow, that's really amazing. And Ophelia from upstate New York in Montgomery, she wrote that you're very inspirational through your paintings. And that's something that really touches a lot of people, especially going through tragic times such as that. It's really amazing that you're taking the time out to, put that into your artwork. So
that was a time for me that during that time I understood how lucky I was, to live in Switzerland and to have a good life. And I wanted to address the issue of how we always take everything for granted, but how everything in this world could just change in an instant. Yeah. So that was really the theme of this series of paintings.
Yeah, wow, that's really amazing. And we have Chris Charles from San Francisco. He would like to know who your inspirations are.
So I have around, I think, maybe 7 or 8 great artists who really inspired me at a young age. I'm not sure, but I think that the artist who first inspired me was 100 Wasser. I don't know if you say the name the same way in America. 100 Water. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
So I believe he was from Austria, and actually I just recently went to his museum.
Wow.
And he created very very awkward buildings, let's say, architecture, and he did paintings where he would say that he's painting his dreams, and there would usually be faces in them.
Wow.
So he inspired me to use more of the gold and the silver, which I use in my art, but I use it very differently. I use it more in a very modern way. I use it to create movement and the effect of light in my art and dimension. So that inspired me to do this throughout time. And believe it or not, one of my favorite artists is Munch. I just love how crazy he was. And his painting at the bridge, I found it very inspiring, and it was historically touching. So when I was around 12 years old, I actually started painting my own versions of this painting.
Wow.
I did one where on silk, where there is this let's say icon screaming out of a forest, and there's lots of tiger eyes in the background looking at you. And then I've done the same thing again about 7 years later in a mixed media drawing, where I used the inspiration I got for Hundertwasser together with Munch and also Picasso, actually, I must say, to do a painting where people have to spot different faces. And it was like a genie bottle, and the ghost would come out with all its spirits. So that's another image I like.
Wow.
At the moment, my favorite artists are Margaret and Monet, to be honest with you. I do get also some inspiration from Dali, just because I like the surrealism of his work. But at the moment, the artist who most inspires me,
yes,
and my goal is to mirror that in my work is really his paintings. For example, the painting of the man in the hat with the apple in front.
That's so cool.
For me personally, apart from thinking that he was a great artist, I believe that he was a genius from his communication skills, because he managed to really connect with people through his visuals. He was really making a stance.
Yes,
so I really love that. I'm really, the last 1 or 2 years, I really started getting very much into that surrealism.
Wow.
I'm very into pop art as well. Andy Warhol is a big inspiration for me, because I like his simplistic style. And my one, probably the famous, my most favorite artist is probably Chagall.
Wow.
Just I feel that he was the one artist, together with Monet. He was just really great. He painted, and everything he did, all the colors always matched. And I believe that my main skill, since I was a boy, I was 12 years old and I was painting, I usually started with abstract works. It also is, my main skill is the color combinations, I think.
No, you really actually, you have an amazing way of picking different colors and putting all the different colors together and really standing out bold. Like when you look at your paintings, I can see so many of them in a room and being such the highlight of that room, because it's almost like they scream for attention because they're just so beautiful.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I never liked doing small paintings. I always tried to get them bigger and bigger, because I just feel that the larger the art, the more, the more space it's going to take up, the more it's going to be able to communicate. I kind of basically would like my paintings to just swallow the viewer into them.
Yes. No, and they really do. They're very eye-catching.
Yes, they're usually very, like I said, colorful, and usually intended to create a positive effect on the viewer by the colors I use.
At your Facebook page, and it shows that you're also an entrepreneur. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I always really enjoyed being a creative thinker and trying to run different projects and to see them in real life. And I really enjoy it. So I'm working on a number of projects at the moment. And I think it's really who I am. It's being an artist and an entrepreneur is the core of my being. I was always very innovative as a child. I would just come up with crazy inventions and little tools. When I was 14, I wanted to become an industrial designer. because I
Wow.
love the idea that you create beautiful products.
Hmm.
They have a nice design, but at the same time you can use them for different
Hmm.
things. So
That's so cool. That
it's just something I really like.
and that goes back into the artist that you like that does the different like structures. So it kind of ties into each other. How as a child you are, as a young teen, you used to feel, the need to want to make structures, and you also love artists that were drawing different structures, are
Right.
painting different structures.
Right.
And there's so many people in the arts today that are hungry for promotion. And with what you're doing, you're going to change that, and you're going to be able to give them promotion. What inspired that inside of you?
I basically believe that it's one of our missions in life is to usually help people. And it's very hard for most artists to get exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm from the advertising world, so it's not difficult for me to create exposure. And I believe usually there's a lot of competition between artists.
Yes.
But I think that there's no reason to compete. Everyone is very inspiring. And in my opinion, artists should try to support each other.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I feel like that 100%. And
So
mm-hmm.
I work on a platform at the moment. I started working on it for a few years ago. There's a magazine. It's called Immanuel.
Mm-hmm.
It means in English "in the spotlight."
Wow.
So it used to be was owned by my father, and I got involved writing critics. I was doing interviews with famous people like magicians from the US who performed for Larry King.
Oh wow.
And I did an interview with this circus director, Corneli. So he was one of the first circuses established in Switzerland. And we would just go to shows, live events, and later on write critics. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy creative writing. So back then I decided I would like to take this internationally. So I went ahead and I bought the names The Spotlight Magazine.
Wow.
It is still a project that I would like to realize. Mm-hmm. To write, to have an online magazine, but in English for international shows, where critics go and they write about the shows. Mm-hmm. And yes, that's one of my projects at the moment.
Wow, that's awesome. And we have Chris from San Francisco, Chris Charles. He would like to ask you another question. He would like to know what you think of the classic American artists such as Jackson Pollock or Norman Rockwell.
I think that in general, in the arts, whatever you will do, there will be somebody who likes your work. So it's not really relevant what my opinion about other artists' work is. And there are some artists I feel like they're really great, and other artists I really don't understand what is going on. But in general, whenever you create a painting, there will always be enough people who love your painting, and there will always be some people who don't like your painting. Mm-hmm. So I think that if you're an artist in today's age and you managed to get enough exposure, then I feel that should be highly respected, because it's extremely difficult for artists to get exposure. And the one reason why Andy Warhol was so popular and got so famous was because he was able to combine his marketing skills together with his art. Wow. Most artists, they don't usually really like to talk about their artwork, or they don't usually like to sell their own work. Mm. And I maybe like to talk about my art, mm-hmm. But to be honest, even I'm a marketing person, I really don't like to market my own work. It just feels like you should focus on your art, you know. So I think people who manage to do that by whatever way, they need to be respected. And I think they're great artists.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that's mainly my take on this.
And we have Avani Mora from upstate New York. She would like to know, what is your artistic outlook on life?
Okay. Well, basically the painting in my background.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it? I started painting on it 1 year ago, but I took a creative break for 1 year. I just started again painting, basically, and that's why I didn't finish the painting. But it really is talking about the people and the world we live in, and
Wow.
you see, and it's about people and their dreams. And there is a hand, but I didn't complete it yet. And he's wearing a watch, and it's about reaching your dreams. And in the background, one day it will be written happiness, peace, health, balance. And on the top of the painting, within the light bulb, I will be painting there an entire little world itself.
Mm-hmm.
You see the word that seems to say right now sky effect, but basically it's covered by the sky, but actually what I'm saying here is sky defect. So that's my opinion about the world. I think the world is defect at the moment.
Wow.
I think people have a dream, and everybody's trying to aspire what they want to, but usually people make it very difficult for others, and there's a lot of hardship going on in the world.
Yes, there is.
So that's my
Hi. Okay, so now I would like to know, to date, what is your greatest achievement?
Okay. I think it's not an easy question, because for me, I believe that it's more important who I am as a human being than what I do. And when I think about it, the biggest achievement for me in my life was when my father, he was ill. He got cancer.
Wow.
And he was very important to me. Mm-hmm. And he was also he was a great lawyer and professor, and he actually was a lot in the news and television. And when he got ill, it was very hard for me. And there was a moment when I was alone at home with him, and I had a feeling that something was wrong, like an intuition, because I had things like this happening to me before in my life.
Wow.
And so I reacted, and I called some SOS emergency doctors, and when I saw it was taking too long, I decided to call the ambulance, and we drove to the hospital, and I think that was my biggest achievement as a human being, because
wow,
I as the son of my father, I brought him to the hospital and to the emergency. I had to check my father in with his name and his birthday date, and to talk to the doctors. And yeah, that's just something I feel strongly about. And at this time, later on, the doctors told me that he could have died in this time, this time. And my father later on told me that he basically thanked me for saving his life. And for me, that was, I think this will be for always my most valued memory. I didn't actually realize at the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what an amazing artist with such a great story, a great heart.
also, when it was his birthday, it was very hard for me. Like I flew in a nurse from abroad, and it was his birthday coming up. I believe 62.
Wow.
And the nurse said, "You're an event manager, and do something." And I felt really under pressure because I thought it's the most weirdest and awkward encounter for me, for someone that he is maybe about to die, to try to make some kind of happy birthday moments.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it quite a lot, and then I came up with what I should do, and I created this like a little movie for him, where lots of his friends and people in his life sent a message, and I think I brought a lot of joy to him, and he was smiling, and I think it was very important. So that's for me as a human being, I think that was my greatest achievement I ever did.
Yeah, it really shows your heart that is your greatest achievement, and it is an awesome achievement. I mean, to have your father alive because of you getting there and bringing him to the hospital is really amazing. It shows everybody that's watching sees your passion and sees how much of an amazing heart you have.
Thank you. And another thing that I'm a little bit proud of is when I was doing my studies in Germany for advertising, I realized that there was a very big need for students who are alone abroad and to connect with other people. And something I've done, even I was there by myself, it was 5 years ago, was to set up a social network. And I contacted a restaurant and a community center, and I started hosting meals every Friday. And I'm a little bit proud of it because it's still going on until today. So up to this day, I'm still from Switzerland. I'm managing this community, and so I'm just proud of whenever I manage to do something that could help people.
That's great.
And since when I was a kid, I always thought that I want to bring joy with my art. So that's also why I specialized on the color psychology and all that, because it was most important for me to create something positive. And yeah, I think it's an accomplishment. That I think I try to do that, and not just with my art, but also with my events. And I'm proud of this. And for me as a person, I believe that I always stayed true to myself, which wasn't very easy. And I always went against the mainstream. I'm just always doing what everybody is not doing. So, it's probably because of that I'm an artist, but I never just went to ordinary paths in life. And I'm a little bit proud of it because it's difficult, and I don't mind to challenge myself.
That's awesome.
I spoke often in front of large audiences. I think it's an accomplishment, and for me as a human being, to overcome personal hardships and health issues, and it's very important to me to help people. So I try whenever I can to help people in need. Are we still live?
Yes, we are.
Hello?
Yes, we're still live.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you're talking out from a studio in low below the ground, which is kind of near the bunker as well. So maybe that's the reason.
That's funny.
Did you hear everything I said? Or?
We did. And I was noticing some of the paintings behind you. Yeah. There's like the third one over, like that one. Yeah. Tell me about that painting.
So basically, this painting, it's quite recent, and it was a little bit of an experiment. It's on wood. So I wanted to create three-dimensional effects on the wood, and play with the colors and shiny colors as well. I have actually plans for this painting. It inspired me to get involved with designing frames as well.
Wow.
And my plan is to start designing my own frames, and I want them to be three-dimensional, made out of wood or stone.
Wow.
And I want to place the paintings onto them with light surrounding it. And it sounds like in one of my projects that I'm working on. I'm in contact with the people who can design that kind of things.
Oh, wow.
And also I would like to start doing furniture, basically. Okay. I thought of it already when I was 14, when I was wanting to study industrial design, and I feel that I would like to design tables and different kind of furniture with my art on it.
Wow.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, could you hear me? You're frozen, but I can still hear you.
I'm back.
It's good because everything will be edited anyway. So where can the fans go to, or the new viewers here in the Hudson Valley, where can they go to find out more about you, or to go to your fan page?
Hello.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes.
Where can the viewers go to? Do you have a fan page on Facebook, or where they can go to support you?
Yes, I have a fan page. So my synonym as an artist is modern artist. And you can find me by putting the link facebook.com/modernartlf, which is my initials, LF Liorfischer. And whatever I do is I use the same username, so it's the same on Twitter, on Instagram, or anywhere else. Mainly, I usually am most active on the Facebook page, and I also have a website. It's called liorfischer.com. You spell my name with an SCH, so it's not like in America, and that's how people could find me.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, I'm working on an event that I think is very important to me. It's going to be for the UN. We are going to organize a peace event, and it's supposed to be internationally broadcasted, and we will bring musicians from around the world. And it's very exciting for me. Wow.
That's really awesome. And tell me a little bit more in detail about that project.
Okay. Well, I'm doing it in cooperation with an event agency. It's called Open Hearts, and we have been talking for many years about doing events together. And at the moment we're working on this. The idea is that we're going to be broadcasting it on Swiss television. The Swiss TV. We would like them, and they are interested to broadcast it around the world to CNN and different news outlets. So it's maybe one of my biggest events I would ever have done. So I'm working on this, and therefore I'm talking to different musicians or record labels who it's very promising.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Do you have any other questions about this or anything else?
Yeah, actually, there's Avani asks another question. She would like to know: is the artistic life lonely?
Yeah, well, I think it depends on the person. I by myself think of myself as a very social person, and I usually communicate with a number of about 30 to 60 people a day with my friends, and I really enjoy it. Maybe I'm different from other artists because I grew up in a large family, and I was the third child in that family, and I'm always used to there's something going on all the time. I'm sure that there's a lot of artists who are quite lonely or sad. I could tell a story about one artist I met in Barcelona, and there was a painting I saw, and I thought it was great, and I offered him a lot of money for it because I thought he deserved it. And when I did that, he started crying. He was already at least over 60. So there's a lot of artists who are not lonely people, or they have dealt with hardship. People who are artists are usually emotional people, creative, and they usually think different from the rest. I'm sure, yes, you can say that sometimes as an artist you will be lonely, but I think that every human being is lonely sometimes.
Yeah.
And especially in the times we live in, where the social media is so active. But, at the same time, people are just getting lonelier all the time.
Yes, no, it's very true.
So yes, I believe that there's lots of artists who are lonely, especially because not a lot of people actually understand art. They don't appreciate it, or they just couldn't read into the paintings. While I believe that art is very important. It's maybe one of the most important mediums in the world, because art is that's my dog in the background. Art is a way to communicate throughout time. So, you know, when like Munch was communicating, or Picasso was communicating about the war, and it's like a historical document. So artists, I think, are important, and might be lonely at times, but yeah, I think artists are not people who like to be alone or separate from others. I think they try to connect with people, and your art itself increases in value if there's a person who enjoys your work.
Wow, that's it's true. It's very true. And could you actually show us your doggy?
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't usually always come to the studio. Today he followed me. I don't know why. So this is Bujan.
Oh, how cute! So cute. How old?
He's a teenager.
Oh, you're a teenager. Hi, baby. So cute. Oh, adorable. Looks like he looks like a puppy.
Yeah. I think he will always stay a puppy.
And Ronan Fischer says they're very proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is my little brother.
Oh. So is there anything that you want to show us in your artist area there, like in your studio?
Yes. Well, before the interview, I just remembered something. Might be interesting, I thought.
Oh, so cool.
This is me when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
I was working on the silk painting. I actually did not know that someone was taking photographs.
That's so cool.
I have received this picture about 12 years later, and together with all those pictures.
Wow.
So I was doing umbrellas out of silk.
That's amazing.
And, here you have another.
Wow.
You have another picture of me painting.
Oh wow, that painting looks so great. And you were so young.
Which one?
The one at the, well actually, I mean, I love the umbrella. The umbrella I love, like I want one of those umbrellas now. But I love that, and as well the picture on the bottom.
The one I'm having issues to show you, this one.
Yeah, that one, yeah. That's such a beautiful painting.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the time when I started experimenting with the empty spaces. So it was something I started doing is to try to implement white and empty space into my art, to create a larger dimension to my work.
Wow.
And I have done a painting which was, it's called Eva in Paradise, and it's basically a woman, but she's surrounded by a colorful garden.
Wow.
And it was my idea to, I still haven't, it's been many years, but I haven't gone further than doing this one painting. I wanted to do a series of pieces where I would just play with empty spaces, and I wanted the empty space basically to be the centerpiece of the artwork.
Wow.
You asked about my studio.
Yes.
I really like my studio. I spend a lot of time here. I feel very relaxed over here. So I have my Nespresso machine over there.
Oh, wow.
And I tried not to have too much of an artistic mess before the interview.
So cool.
What else? I have my guitars here. Music is very important to me, so I have all kind of speaker systems.
Oh wow!
I recently built a home cinema so I can watch movies. And here's another piece down here. Maybe harder to see at the moment. Where I was also experimenting with empty spaces. And it's very large and colorful.
It's very beautiful.
There is one painting in the garage at the moment. It used to be in the law firm of my father. I flew it in from abroad by plane.
Wow.
It's maybe 3 or 4 meters long.
Wow.
And it represents justice in the world, and there's a Lady Justice in the middle, and it's balancing good and evil. So it's also one of my themes, just to balance good and bad, or catastrophe and ordinary life.
Wow.
And the one piece I'm at the moment working on, I usually don't show my work before it's finished, but I think it might be interesting. So I'm working on this large painting.
Ooh, I love it.
And
wow.
It was my goal to really challenge myself in it.
I love it. It's awesome.
And I think I will probably work on it at least another month, and it's quite important to me. It's for me, it's supposed to represent closure. It deals. So basically, I haven't been painting at all for 1.5 years.
Wow.
Because of what happened, my father's loss, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't paint anymore. Like there was
sorry about that.
Like I wasn't able to paint anymore. So yeah, it took me 1.5 years, and then I decided I would go back again and continue, what I was doing. And I decided my first painting should be a painting describing this chapter in my life.
Wow.
So you will have here, you basically you have the heaven and the angels, and you have some Hebrew letters that are from the Old Testament.
Wow.
And you have a lighter that it's about representing raising to heaven, and you have I have 4 siblings, so I represent my siblings in the painting. I decided that when I will be done with the painting, I want to hang it up once. I want to hang it up in my living room or somewhere. And I was very inspired by Chagall. I feel like he really managed to connect, this kind of dreamy world. And I also got inspired in this piece with Hundert Wasser again, and just some of my complete, myself, just drawing faces and detail and using like the colors. So there's some shiny colors on it.
It's really beautiful.
And here there will be a centerpiece which will be also from the Old Testament, describing loss and the appreciation.
Wow.
So yeah, that's at the moment what I'm working on, and my goal is to make it a 3-dimensional piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the center to be looking like a movie trailer.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. My last piece, what for me was just having a break from this painting because it was exhausting.
Oh yeah, I
I
can
was
only
standing on
imagine.
it for almost 48 hours in a row, like barely sleeping.
Wow.
And so my back started hurting. So I just took a break. So I did this painting in the break.
Oh,
For
wow. Well,
about an
so
hour.
beautiful.
And since you asked me about the studio, there is a little painting here in the background. You see it?
Cool. Mhm. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
This is one I made when I was 5 years old.
Oh,
I just
wow.
recently hung it up.
That's
And in the painting,
amazing.
I was already experimenting with color shades. So
Mm-hmm.
the piece itself, basically, I will try to show it to you better.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
the piece itself, it's just it's all yellow, and it's all different kinds of yellow.
Wow.
And also I tried to have a three-dimensional colors on it. So I actually remember when I did this. And 3D is something I always try to get better at.
Mm-hmm.
And here when I was 19,
wow, that's so beautiful.
it was like an effect that I tried to do. What I wanted to create a sense of movement. So here you have like Egyptian figures, like a wall painting, and I worked about 3 months on the lines, and then I cut out the figures and I moved them to the side.
Wow.
And they are also they are in distance from the painting itself. So I wanted to start doing illusions when I did that.
Wow.
Yes, this is all I can say about my studio.
That's so cool. So you play the guitar?
Yes, I got a Fender guitar to my 13th birthday, and I always started playing classical guitar, electric guitar, and always I took breaks in between, so I tried to get an expert at it. I was
cool.
composing, I composed some songs because I'm very into music, and I did a lot of songwriting. So I do that as well. It's like a hobby for me.
Wow.
But I'm not at the level I would want to be in the guitar, at least.
Well, soon. So before we close out the interview, is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
I would be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
So you said that you love music. So when it comes to music, who inspires you right now?
Well, I think music is just at least as important as art. And I believe music was always very important throughout civilization. And for me as a person, I always really cared about the lyrics in the songs. So I usually enjoy music where there are deep lyrics to it, which, to be honest, doesn't happen anymore very often, to be frank. I think in the 60s they wrote some great music.
Yeah.
Also, I think Queen was quite amazing. The Beatles were great. Bob Marley was great. Some of my favorite songs. I'm not totally a Rastafarian, but I really
some songs are good.
Billy Joel was a great artist. I believe that Deep Purple, I really love Deep Purple. I really enjoy how they play with the time and the melodies and, you know, getting people interested. Yeah, there are also lots of great musicians out there at the moment. Just trying to think of someone I'm listening to.
And what you said about artists is actually really true when it comes to the quality of the lyrics. A lot of the old school or back in the day artists were really into writing lyrics that really made everybody stop and think, and it made you feel certain emotions compared to today.
Yeah,
Today it's kind of lacking.
Right now.
Yeah. So it's really true what you said with that.
I think musicians they go through it. that just happened. That was funny. The musicians, they are going through similar struggles like artists because they also have a hard time getting exposure, and there's a lot of competition. And yeah, it's very important to help artists because they are very meaningful to society, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do that with my events that I'm working on or organizing. I have some friends of mine that are producers. I support them. It's not easy, you know, to do a creative job nowadays because the
Wow.
game has become very serious, and most things are about money nowadays, or about you know, delivering. And yeah, I think music is extremely important. I listen to music when I paint as well.
Wow.
From time to time, write lyrics. I have been running an online radio station, a multimedia platform for 4 years of my life,
Oh, wow.
and it was one of my first projects with communications, I think. And when at that time I really got I had my goals set, and I wanted to get in touch with managers from the music industry, and I had some really good meetings back then. So yeah, it's something I've been doing for a long time, and I'm still involved. I a little bit distanced myself from the music industry because I thought it's very difficult to be successful in it. But the way for me to be involved is by organizing events.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm still open to do songwriting or produce some music. You know, as an artist, you could do anything. The one thing I appreciate most about art is because it's the only thing in this world where there's no rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
in everything in the world there are rules.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people trying to put rules onto art, but really in art there are no rules, and an artist can do whatever he wishes to do.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
And yeah, you could just create something totally strange, or people at the time now, they will think it's insane, but maybe in 100 years they will think it's genius. So I think that that's the one thing I love the most about art, that there are no rules and there are no boundaries.
Mm-hmm. That's really awesome. And where do you see yourself in 2 years?
You know, I think about the future a lot, but I don't really like to talk about it a lot because I think that you never know what will ever happen to you. One of the most fascinating occurrences about life is that you might just plan something, but in the end something totally different will come out, or things will happen that you did not expect. But I certainly do have my wishes for the future. I hope that maybe in the next 2 years, I don't know, 2 years more or less, maybe I will get married. I would like to have my own family. It's definitely something that is important to me. It's very important to me to establish myself further as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what I love doing. You know, it was my dream since I was 30 years old. When I was 13, my dream was to one day become an established artist. and it's been my dream for I believe 16 years. So I'm still I got quite already popular, and but it's very hard as an artist to really make it.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to make it in the US. I would really love to become established in America and to do tours. I want to organize art fairs, and it's just something I would really love to do.
That's
and,
awesome.
I want to organize events that interact with people. So I was thinking to do large scale events, public PR events, and just music events, festivals. I really would like to get further into that, aside from what I'm doing at the moment. And you know, when you ask me about what I think about my establishments, I'm proud. When I was 24 years old, I founded my own company.
Oh, wow.
Advertising company, and it's not an easy process in Switzerland. Everything has to be always exactly the way you need to have it. You know, and I used up all my funding, so I saved up all my life, and I invested all the money in funding the company. So for me personally, it is very important I would just really like to establish my company further. My company goes hand in hand with everything I'm doing. It's my idea was that it should always serve as an umbrella for whatever I want to do. So yes, I think this is what I would like to achieve in the next 2 years. Like I said, there are lots of things that could happen. There's many things that maybe I have no idea what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always great things that could happen. There's always bad things that could happen to you.
Yeah.
I usually think about life that they usually come together, or they like just one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel at the moment I'm really on the highway, like going up, and things are going good. And I work really hard. So I hope, and I feel like it's just, you know, getting better, and yeah, I'm really happy that I'm able to do what I love to do. It's what I really try to set myself apart from other people. I try to do what I love doing, and it's probably very difficult. It's very hard to do something different than the rest of society.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that ultimately it will serve me, and that I will be able to lead a satisfied life. And this is important to me, to be like a free spirit. Obviously, you have to be you can't just do whatever you want. You know, there are rules. Not but that's what I really expect for the future.
Oh, awesome. Well, we're really excited about that, and to follow you and see what you're doing from time to time as well. We're very excited about airing this on the Arts Interviews on Channel 23 in the Hudson Valley. So we wanted to thank you for your interview. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, and I really enjoyed this interview.